36. Have a good day. It's 7 o'clock.
Your home for Goodland High School athletics, Fort Hays Tech Northwest basketball, the Denver Broncos, and the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer and Max Gershon. This is Rocket 1025, KKCI FM, Goodland, Colby, and NWKS radio station.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. The Supreme Court upholds, at least for now, the Trump administration's freeze on $2 billion, the release of foreign aid. Britain's prime minister sees his country as a bridge between the U.S. and the rest of Europe. Keir Starmer is in Washington for talks today with President Trump, at which Ukraine will top the agenda. Tomorrow, Ukrainian President Zelensky is scheduled to meet with President Trump, who expects to sign a profit-sharing deal on rare earth minerals in Ukraine. First phase of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal is complete, with the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners exchanged for the bodies of 4 hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. They were found in their New Mexico home. The bodies of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman, his wife, and their dog discovered during a welfare check. Police say they do not suspect foul play. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures up 106 points. This is SRN News.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5496. That's 1-800-936-5496.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. Kansas is holding a statewide tornado drill. The drill will take place Wednesday, March 5th at 10 a.m. in most of the state. Kansas lawmakers are considering expanding the state's Star Bond program. A Senate bill would allow for Star Bonds to be used to support shopping malls, and the bonds use sales tax and revenue to repay cities in Kansas that issue the bonds. Northwest Kansas will be getting a new regional healthcare facility next year when Citizens Medical Center opens its new location. CEO David McCorkle spoke with NWKS Radio and said,
"We're about 60% complete. The progress has been very efficient. Our contractors, subcontractors, everybody out on the job site has just been doing a great job of meeting their timeframes."
McCorkle also recognized the rising cost of the hospital.
The total project cost, everything included, is about $130 million. But it really pales in comparison to some other projects. I mean, other healthcare facilities are many, many, many times the cost of that. So for our community, it's a big price tag. But for a healthcare facility, it's really not.
The new facility is expected to open in April or May of 2026. Brewster senior Joe Leha won the prestigious Rudd Scholarship, and he sat down with NWKS Radio to explain.
So the Rudd Scholarship, it's a full-ride scholarship to really, 4 different colleges. So K-State, Wichita State, Fort Hays, and Emporia State. They cover books, tuition, housing, everything, all for 4 years up to your bachelor's degree.
Leha is dual majoring in agrobusiness and ag econ, and this award is part of the bigger program.
50 students, every year they give out 50 scholarships to 50 different students throughout the state of Kansas. They do the same thing for all of them. They surprise them. They show up to their school with a big check.
Leha was one of 50 kids to receive the scholarship and was selected from a pool of 700 applicants. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 1025.
With your updated forecast, I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Weatherology Weather Center. Highs level off around 62 today. Under sunny skies, west winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 34. High temperatures reach up to 64 tomorrow. Bright sunshine. Ample sunshine expected Saturday with highs in the low 60s. Slight chance for rain Sunday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 64 Monday, 48 Tuesday, and 46 on Wednesday. Another look at the short range, a high of 62 today. Lows level off around 34 tonight. We should top out at 64 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Right now, 30.
March is here, and you know what that means. It's time to put your basketball knowledge to the test with NWKS Radio's Bracket Challenge. Think you can predict the madness? Fill out your bracket with a shot at a stack of cash and, of course, bragging rights. Whether you're a hoops expert or just flipping a coin, everyone has a chance to win. Pick up your brackets on March 17th from
Triple R Insurance, F&B Bank, Zimmelman's Jewelry, Pearl Chevrolet GMC, and the Insurance Agency.
It's NWKS Radio's Bracket Challenge. New year, new projects, and new deals at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Start 2025 with a bang by tackling those home improvements. Refresh your space with vibrant Benjamin Moore paint or stock up on storage totes and shelves, perfect for organizing. Lumber prices are down, making it easier to tackle your next big project. Keep warm while you grill year-round with their top-notch grills and smokers from Traeger and Weber. And don't let the snow slow you down. Check out their great selection of snowblowers from Ego and Toro. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby, your partner for a productive new year.
Farmers, what do you expect from your crop insurance agent and company? Knowledge, service, peace of mind knowing you have the coverage you need for your operation? This is what you deserve and more. This is what you have with Rain and Hail Insurance and the girls at the Insurance Agency in Goodland. Now is the time to stop by the office to review and change your coverage before the March 15th deadline. Stop in and see Roxanne, Susan, and Judy at the Insurance Agency, located at 1020 Main in Goodland, or call 899-5011 for your peace of mind.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for big savings on a powerful new ride? Pearl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas has you covered. Right now, drive home a 2025 Silverado 2500 with just 3.9% financing for 60 months. Need space and style? Get $1,000 customer loyalty cash on a 2024 Chevy Suburban. Or grab a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 Pro Diesel. Originally just over $67,000, now just over $56,000 with a huge hail discount. Swing by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Mo and Matt and Michaela Cow said M&M Supply continues with deals on Hustler mowers. A good supply with discounts on some closeouts right now, different models, different sizes, financing available. They'll take your trade-ins. You know, they work on all types of different riding mowers, but they do carry Hustler mowers, Hustler parts. Hustler's made right here in Kansas, USA. They carry cordless DeWalt tools like DeWalt lodge edgers, chainsaws, trimmers, 20 or 60 watt. Yeah, they'll keep on growing, so you keep on mowing at M&M Supply, rural Edson, Kansas.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Max Gershon.
Look at their schedule, folks. They've played no one, and they never do to start the year until they play Kansas. They get these Mickey Mouse wins out of their ways.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bolden loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch. In the end zone, touchdown Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Calling for a clear out with a shot clock inside of 10. Pull on.
We approach the 9-minute mark. Doug on the move, misses the bank, and Buddy Rich with a throwdown. Wow, was that powerful. 23-19. Here's the inbounds to Gasson. Back to Doug. Drives towards the lane. Max Jones, three-pointer. Yes! He is on fire tonight. Max Jones now with 19 and 3 threes.
Gillespie for 3. Call or no. Holloman looks the clock. Half court for the win. Oh! Oh, my goodness!
Anybody happen to see that last night live? That was nuts. Michigan State and Maryland playing for the top spot in the Big Ten in Maryland. A 3-ball with probably, 8 seconds left for Maryland. A rebound comes out. Michigan, actually probably less, 5 seconds for Maryland. Michigan heaves it from half court and buries it. Michigan State buries it from midcourt and goes on to win the game. And pretty much, not going to say officially, but have gotten a lot closer to locking up a Big Ten regular season title. That was a crazy finish to that game, Max. And boy, that was entertaining basketball last night there in at least Big Ten country. How are you doing today? Look a little groggy this morning, a little sleepy.
I'm good.
Too late? Too much Fortnite, amigo?
Too much Fortnite. No, no Fortnite. Is my mic quiet? Am I quiet this morning, Ross?
I don't know. You sound a little overmodulated, honestly.
Yeah,
on my end.
I'm not sure.
There you go. That sounds a little bit better, but
It's better.
you are quiet, no?
Yeah, I am quiet. Well, we'll have to figure that out. Anyway, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was thinking last night, like, I just can't intake any more football content after the football season. Like it just takes so much out of me going through the football season and so much stress every weekend. And like once football season's over, I don't want to hear about it for like 3 months after. I need a break.
Just your Chief stuff, correct?
Yeah, I need to get. I was reading some Chiefs stuff. I'm like, I need just baseball for the next at least 3 months before I can get back into thinking about the Chiefs. And I guess the draft is an exception, but yeah, I was just thinking about that last time. Like I get during the offseason, the NFL.
Has there really been that much news surrounding the Kansas Chiefs, despite the fact of, Travis Kelce possibly retiring, although he's probably not going to?
No, but it's just mock drafts and
mock
and
drafts,
that sort of stuff. That just kind of, is I just can't take. I can't. Let's get to the draft. I don't want to hear anything about the NFL. I just want to talk baseball, basketball. I'm not the best off-season talker, you could say.
Oh man,
I'm more of an.
It's a summertime.
I'm just more of an in-season kind of guy. Like if it's baseball season, I want to talk. I'm better at talking just.
I totally get that. I get
I
I love how the seasons change. Like if I just had to do basketball year round, I would pretty much, I'd probably lose my mind.
Right.
If I, football, maybe, but once again, I like how the seasons change. So I enjoy that about it. And we're kind of in a transitional period right now where we're wrapping up, winter sports with basketball and things of that sort. We'll be diving into spring sports here in pretty much a month. A month from now, they will kick off. I think the high school baseball season will get going. I think Colby and Goodland face off in the high school baseball season here in a month. So we're coming up on that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. I kind of feel that way a little bit after basketball season because I feel like basketball season is very long. Football season to me, and I'm just talking from the high school level here, football season and volleyball season are 2 months long. Basketball season is almost 4 months long. And then baseball and softball is kind of like a month and a half in the high school sports calendar. So basketball season is one that it's always like when it gets done, I'm like, wow, that was a long the season. I mean, it was a fun season, but it was a long season.
Totally.
But that's all right. We got lots to get to on today's program. We're going to talk some JUCO news, Colby Community College basketball losing to Barton last night. We will get to the RIP of one of the great fictional coaches of all time, semi-fictional, in the walk-off. We will talk wrestling today with our good friend, Mike Holliday, our wrestling expert, going to stop by and visit with us about the state tournaments going on at 4A and 321A. Look forward to visiting with him about area wrestlers as they get set to begin state tomorrow. So state begins tomorrow and then rolls into Saturday. It's a 2-day event. They'll have state for both girls and boys. Boys or 4A competitors will be at the Tony Pizza Event Center in Salina, and then Gross Memorial Coliseum is where 321A will be back in Hayes. So we'll get to that. We'll also talk some sub-state basketball here in just a little bit as it is postseason begins for 2A and 3A area schools tonight with Goodland and Colby. Colby girls, Goodland boys and girls, and also Hoxie boys and Oakley boys getting in action tonight in sub-state basketball. We'll get to all that coming up. But want to kick off the show. Last night, a little bit of a recap from Kansas State basketball. They lose again, this time to Central Florida in Orlando, 80-76. Didn't I say yesterday, Max, they were going to have to score some points?
You were right.
To score some points because UCF can fill it up.
You were absolutely right.
It's I've got some audio from Coach Tang that we're going to play here in just a little bit because he had an interesting point on this game and honestly to this point in the season. But Kansas State has now lost what is, after a 6-game winning streak, rattled off now 4 consecutive losses, and 2 of those losses coming to teams below them. Well, actually, if you want to go back to Utah, the loss to Utah, the loss to Arizona State, and the loss to UCF. The last 3 games have all been to teams below them in the Big 12 standings at the current time when they took on those teams, and now they continue to do fall out of the hierarchy of the Big 12 standings. But tough night last night. 4 guys in double figures for Kansas State. They got a team high 22 points from Max Jones on 6 of 17 shooting. 10 points from Doug McDaniel, 11 from Brandon Hassan, and 12 off the bench from C.J. Jones. Once again, no Coleman Hawkins, which was a missed guy. I mean, everybody loved to pick on Coleman Hawkins about how much, they thought he was getting overpaid. He didn't mean much. Well, apparently Coleman Hawkins does a whole lot more than some people think he does, even though his numbers may not show it. Even though I think his stats are very good every single time he steps on the floor. When you lead the team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, when you're that guy and you're missing that guy, it's hard to replace that guy. And Kansas State is definitely seeing that right now as they lose against the UCF 80-76. I kind of got into the game a little bit later in this contest. Like I said, I was busy with some other things, but I caught into the game in the second half. Kansas State got down early in the first half. They were down, and then they were able to kind of get it down. I think they took a lead. I think it was a 2-point lead. I want to double check that. They had a 2-point lead. Gosh, they trailed by I'm sorry how it worked. I think they got it down to 2, and then a huge push at the end of the first half from UCF put them down, and then K-State rallied in the second half after trailing by as many as 11, and then Brandon Hassan had a chance to tie with a 3 late with a few remaining seconds, but could not get it done, and so the Wildcats lose 80-76. I wanted to play some audio, if you don't mind, Max.
Yeah.
From Coach Tang. He had an interesting comment talking about his team. And, I think it was kind of encapsulating this season on what has gone wrong a little bit and what has certainly gone wrong here over the last couple of games. Once again, Jerome Tang following a 4-point loss at UCF last night.
We're not good enough to go on those spurts where we don't execute the way we're supposed to execute. And it wasn't like we couldn't score, right? It was we couldn't get a stop because they kept getting the rebound, and like in crucial situations down the stretch, we got stops and they got 3 consecutive offensive rebounds on us, and guys bobbled the ball, and we have to be better. We have to be better. This one's frustrating because I just felt we were a better team than them, and I thought we were prepared, and it came down to the bookends, transition defense and rebounding, and they wanted to rebound, and they were the worst offensive rebounding team in the Big 12, and they had 16 offensive rebounds against us.
Yeah, and 10 in the second half.
10 in the second half, and 3 down the stretch.
Right.
You just can't do that and win games. At some point in time, we gotta get sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
That was the comment from Coach Tang. By the way, I want to correct it here that Kansas State trailed by 8 at multiple times in this first half, got it to where they led by 3, 34-31, with about 4 minutes left to go, and then closed the half to UCF to lead 41-36 at halftime. And then Kansas State just kind of struggled to get back until the very, very end, where they were down by a 3-pointer would have tied it to possibly send into overtime. But we talked about this with Riley Gates last week. Remember, he talked about effort and rebounding, and that's the thing. Kansas State is lacking the effort and the desire to rebound, and UCF had more effort in the rebound department, and that's the reason why they won that game last night. Simple as that.
Yeah, I would love to be in the locker room of K-State from when they were on that run at one point in the season to where they are now. I mean, just to see the difference of what that was like, because it felt like they were on top of the world. They were on top of the country. No one wanted to play K-State during that run, and it's weird to see that just do a complete, that's 2 180s in one season where, all right, they're playing bad, and then just like that, they're playing fantastic, and then now they're back to where they were. And it felt like they were going to cruise to that Iowa State game at one point, Ross. Didn't you feel like that was that was going to be the case when they were winning every game and
I just
beating
remember
top
saying,
teams?
if they can keep this up, they're going to be in the tournament because, and we thought, look at who they've beaten during this hot streak. And now they're going to face a little bit easier opponents coming up. And so they should be able to keep this going, and they haven't. And it makes you wonder, like mentally, they were like, we're up against the wall. Remember we talked about that? We said, they're up against the wall.
Yeah.
Like I said it to Wyatt Thompson, their heels were on the edge of the cliff. And there was nowhere to go but start it. If you were going to continue this season in the postseason, you had to start winning right then and right now. And they did. And then they got this going. And then I think they looked at the schedule and they're like, man, we've beaten all these ranked teams on this deal. We've won some tough games on the road and at home. You know what? Now we're going to face some easier teams. We can get this done. And I think they've overlooked, to an extent, a little bit of their opponents. Now, the lack of Coleman Hawkins has certainly been an issue. Without him being on the floor, they've missed a lot of key pieces of their lineup there. But I think they honestly have a little bit overlooked the teams below them because they got on this heater and beat some teams above them.
It's so interesting to me that you could have an effort problem when, you're fighting you had a chance to rewrite your entire season, all the struggles, all the expectations, first of all, you had going into the year, and then all the struggles to start the season. Then you do this 180 flip and you have a chance to completely rewrite the narrative that everyone had for your team after, 4-5 weeks of the season. And then now you're having effort problems again. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a little fatigue from the season stretch. I really wasn't expecting K-State to struggle in these games against, BYU, Utah, and now K-State. I thought that they had figured out how to play as a team with all the newcomers. And it's been interesting to see the difference. And I'd love to hear from K-State fans, either on the text line or on Facebook or whatever it is, to see what they have seen differently from this K-State team in the last 3 and then the previous 6 before that. What the main difference they've seen. Is it just effort? Because if it is just effort, that's what really doesn't make sense to me. I mean, they had a chance to really rewrite the season and make a tournament push, and they've now lost 3 games that I thought they should have won. So it's been an interesting turnaround once again for K-State.
So there's this guy on Twitter called it's called Nick Bracketology. He calls himself a college basketball guru. And I found this yesterday. So this was tweeted on February 11th. And he has this pinned to the top of his page, which I find to just be fascinating because we're talking about this. But this is the tweet. It says, Kansas State since January 19th to February 11th is the best team in all of college basketball according to the metrics. 20 days ago, once again, back in mid-January, they were 7-11, completely eliminated. And then this post, of course, happens before they go on this drought. But they were the best team in college basketball when it comes to adjusted offensive efficiency and adjusted defensive efficiency. They were the best team in basketball.
Right.
That's crazy. I think that's probably why you hear the frustration in Coach Tang, is because he's like, I've put together this team, and I think we actually have, and that's Coach Tang talking, I put together this team, and honestly, when we play to our capabilities, we are one of the better teams in all of college basketball.
Yeah.
But when we don't, we do not stand a chance at beating anybody.
Right.
It is amazing to think about that. I mean, that is the margin of error in today's college basketball. Isn't that just nuts?
It's nuts because, I mean, I
2
don't
weeks
remember.
ago, they were the best team statistically in all of college basketball when they were on that heater run.
Yeah, it's crazy that, and that's something, I'm sure this won't be the last time you see it with all the, teams that are going to be like K-State that'll have high expectations with all these new players and then start off slow before going on a hot streak when they finally figure it out. But that's the weird part to me as someone that doesn't watch K-State every night. I tune in when I can, but to see this team be at the top of their game right when they needed it, and now you have these 3 games that you have to win at least two, and to see them fall back to their old habits, has been weird. I didn't see it coming, and I don't know if I've seen a team that's really been like K-State. It's a very odd trajectory that they have been on in a roller coaster ride throughout this season of, okay, we're struggling. We still have time. All right, time's running out. And then right at the last second, they figured out going the streak. And now now they've gone back to the beginning of the year and they're pretty much out of it. But still, it's like they have so much talent. And like you said, when they were playing good basketball, they were probably one of the best teams in the country that, who knows, they could still go on a run in the tournament. Like it's crazy because of that.
You know what? That's a great point because, just because it is looking bad and they're going to be one of the higher seeds in the Big 12 tournament, there is no reason that they could not go on a deep run in the Big 12 tournament because they've proven that when they put it all together, they are one of the more talented teams in all of college basketball.
And when they're playing good basketball, they can beat any team in the Big 12. So, all it could take for K-State to get back to where they were is pull off that first round upset in the Big 12 and then look out, here come the Wildcats again. So it's very odd because, they have that record. And for any other team, probably in the country, you're saying, all right, they're out of it. They're out of it. But there's just so much talent on that team that's been proven. We've seen the talent already this year. And, that you still feel like they have a chance somehow in the tournament to make a run.
Kansas State 13-15, 7-10 in the conference. If they can get Coleman Hawkins back, they've got 2 very winnable games coming up against Cincinnati and Colorado, particularly Colorado, although they are playing better.
Yeah.
But, if you get Coleman Hawkins back, maybe it's a way to get a couple of wins here and not go, wrap up the season on a 7-game skitter, which would be bad. Hopefully you can do that. But once again, I just find it fascinating that during that hot streak, they were the best team in college basketball statistically. And now they've lost. And then they were going into the easier part of their schedule. Now they've rattled off 4 straight losses. And we'll see when they get that stopped and they can figure it out. But they got Colorado at home coming up here on Sunday afternoon after K-State loses by 4 to UCF, 80-76. By the way, shout out to Vegas. I just saw this. The line closed. The line closed at 4.5.
Yep. UCF was favored.
UCF was favored by 4.5. It opened at 3.5. It closed at 4.5, and it was a 4-point win. So if you had K-State last night, you covered and you got it. But just the point that they were within a half a point again is just ridiculous.
They always know.
Vegas is nuts. All right, we're going to have to talk Sub-State basketball in segment 3. We've got to get to break. Mike Holliday is going to join us next to talk some wrestling as we get set for the state tournament, which is going tomorrow and rolls into Saturday for both girls and boys. So some state wrestling talk with our good friend Mike Holliday next here on a Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz.
The Farmer State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmer State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, February 27th. On the overnight last night, March corn lowered 2 3/4 at 475.5. May down 3 cents at 490.5. July down 3 at 495.5. September down 2 3/4 at 464.5. March soybeans up 5.5 on the overnight at 10:30. May up 5 3/4 at 10:47. July up 5.5 at 10:61 3/4. August beans up 5 cents at 10:60. Chicago wheat, the March contract lowered 9 1/4 on the overnights at 5.56 3/4. May down 7 3/4 at 5.72. July down 7.5, 5.86 1/4. September soft wheat down 7 cents on the overnights at 6.01 1/2. Kansas City wheat, the March contract lowered 4.5 at 5.80 1/2. May down 6 3/4 at 5.91 3/4. July down 6 1/4 at 6.05. September down 6 cents at 6.19. December hard wheat down 6 1/4 at 6.37 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $49 at 43,449. The S&P up 16 at 5,987. Gold lowered $29 an ounce at $2,900. Crude oil up $1.03 at $69.65. If you have any questions about marketing grain and would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Our farmers feed us all. For generations, they've done what's best for the land. So why is the litigation industry threatening Kansas farmers' go-to crop protection tool? Without
Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
All my friends take good care of me.
It's 8:32 in the Central Time Zone, 7:32 Mountain Time here on this Wednesday, February 27th. It's going to be a high of 60 today, a little warmer than yesterday. That breeze out of the north kind of caused to be a little bit cooler day yesterday, but 32 currently right now, away to a high of 60. But things are really going to start heating up tomorrow and into Saturday with state wrestling getting going across the state, and that's when I love to bring in our good friend who covers wrestling. I call him just my own personal wrestling expert, Mike Alday, who joins us now on the Hoover Lumber's Hardware Hotline. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Hey, we're doing good, and I don't know if you guys had this in the Goodland area. I live in Hayes, and it's really weird to drive down some of the side streets in 72-degree weather with my air conditioner on. That's what it was here a couple of days ago. And then there's still big mounds of snow, on the side streets. So that's a really weird sight and a really weird feeling. But we're happy to have nicer weather this week.
I just think the funniest thing was a week ago, it was what, negative 22 wind with the wind chill, I think is what it was at one point in time here. And then just a week later, there's people driving down the street, like you said, with snow piles on the side of the street and the windows down.
Yeah, it's crazy with temperature swings of 80 plus degrees. It's weather in Kansas, even for Kansas though, even for Western Kansas, this has been extreme. But man, we'll take this week's weather for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That's why they wrestle indoors, right? To just avoid all the weather, so they can just get that done.
You're right. Anyway, I've kind of joked before that if we didn't have basketball and wrestling during the winter months, boy, it would be terrible, wouldn't it? I mean, what in the world would we do?
I don't know. That would be very tough, especially for sports guys like us. We might have to read or something like that. I don't know, which would not exactly be my thing. Mike, I tell you, there is a lot of, as every year there always is, so many great storylines going into the state tournaments for all the classifications. The one I want to start with, though, is always obvious: the continued domination of Hoxie wrestling.
Yeah, Hoxie, and you are right about that. You hit the nail on the head with continued domination. They've won the last 4 team titles on 3-2-1A boys, and you thought, okay, is Hoxie going to take a step back this year? I think that they're a better team than they were a year ago when they easily won state. They are the heavy favorites to win state again on the boys' side, and regional certainly didn't hurt that effort. They qualified 11 boys. And all 11 of those boys were in the championship match. So they placed either first or second. There's 14 weight classes in high school wrestling, and Hoxie had 11 in the finals, 8 champions from that Cimarron regional last weekend, and then 3 runners-up. So not only does that set them up with more qualifiers than anybody else, but they are also, by placing first or second in their regional, they're in a really good position to start off the state tournament in fine shape. So, yeah, Hoxie's the big favorites. Again, Norton's got a really good team this year. They could put 5. If they have a great tournament, they could put as many as 6 in the finals. And still, I think everybody at the end of the tournament is going to be looking up at Hoxie.
Yeah, more than likely they will continue that. They've just been so good when it comes to the boys' side of things. I'd say on the girls' side of the 3-2-1A, I'll tell you who's had a really good year has been Oakley. They have been absolutely fantastic, led by Kylie Hodges, who is 37-0. And I got to pull up this ridiculous stat our good friend of the program, Paul Heskett, sent to me talking about Kylie Hodges, but absolutely nuts. But she, what was I going to say? She, 24, she's recorded 24 pins, 5 technical falls, 6 major decisions, and other than escapes and a hair tie penalty, she has not been scored on. That is absolutely pure domination.
It is, and yet Kylie will not be the favorite in her weight class. That's one of the really interesting stories this weekend. You're right about the Oakley girls, too. They've got a good team. They didn't win regionals. Norton edged them out in Russell here a couple of weeks ago, but they are the number 1 ranked team, and I think probably the team to beat. Kylie Hodges will have a great chance to get to the finals, and I think she'll have a chance to win it, too. But we are all waiting for a collision course with Kylie and Holly Thatcher from Oskaloosa, who was a 3-time state champion, beat Kylie in the state championship last year when it was 4-1A at 115 pounds. But that was just a 2-point decision. And you think that Kylie might be playing with house money a little bit because she will not be the favorite in the finals. And she lost to Thatcher last year, but I think she can kind of let it rip. And boy, if you're Thatcher going for a 4th championship, and you got Kylie Hodges to get over, that's pretty tough. That's going to be a lot of pressure on her. Hodges should have an excellent chance to at least get to the finals and perhaps win it. But other heavy hitters for Oakley include Abigail Jackson. She's ranked number 1 at 135. She's 20-3 on the season. Callie Wagner is also ranked number 1. She's a state runner-up from last year, 27-2. She's the heavy favorite at 115. Atavia Kane is a 2-time state runner-up, but she was upended at regionals 2 weeks ago for her first loss of the season to Nevaeh Graves of Hoisington. Kane is ranked 3rd coming in, but I think that loss might have woken her up a little bit, and I expect her to be in fine shape going into state. But right there, Oakley's got a chance to get all 4 of those girls in. Brooke Smith was a state placer last year at 190 pounds. She wrestled 155 most of the year, went up to 190 just to make the team, and took 6th in 4-1A last year. She's down to 145. She'll score a lot of points, too. They've got Laura Smith. Cadence Koch, who is a senior at 110 pounds, decided to come out this year, was a regional runner-up. She'll do really well. And also Abby Mandeville has a chance to win some matches at state, too. I think you add all of that up, and Oakley's the team to beat.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Once again, Mike Holliday is our guest. He is our wrestling expert. He'll be there to cover 3-2-1A wrestling there in Hayes coming up here this weekend. And I'd tell you another program out here that I've been very impressed with so far this year has been St. Francis girls. They are taking quite a good number of girls. That's a program that has quickly gotten larger with numbers, and they are showing it by showing up to state with a good number of young ladies to wrestle.
How about St. Francis in their regional? They qualify 6 wrestlers for state, and I think Daly Rose at 110 pounds has a chance to do really well. Madison Siegfried at 120 should place, but then Cheyenne Labarge will be right in there, I think, for that 125-pound title. She's beaten number 1 ranked Maggie Holly of Atwood a couple of times this season. Cheyenne Labarge was a runner-up at regionals to Maggie Holly, so those two have gone back and forth. And then there's twins, Michaela and Madison Hayes, in there at 140 and 145. You're right about St. Francis. I think they have the coaches have done a great job with this crew. And let's see, every one of these girls, they are underclassmen. There's 2 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 2 freshmen that have qualified for St. Francis. So not only should this year look good and the state tournament look good for St. but things look pretty good for that program for years to come.
Honestly, Highway 36 up there has got pretty good wrestling because St. Francis girls had a good show, and they've got a couple guys going as well in Dayton Fromhos and Todd Shane, to name a couple of those guys. And then they also, of course, at the regionals, you had Decatur Community and Rollins County both finished top 5. And so you're really seeing some really good wrestling up there on Highway 36.
Yeah, well, and you include, we get a little bit farther east.
Yeah, Norton.
But, Norton is ranked second on the girls and boys side. So, and they'll be right in the running, I think, for the girls team title. On the boys side, you mentioned that Shane Todd, who is a state runner-up from last year, he was a regional runner-up, and he wrestled another one from the immediate area, Carter Career of Oakley. And Carter Career is, and this is at 138 pounds, he's had just an outstanding career. He's been one of the more dominant wrestlers that we've ever seen, but he does not have a state championship. He got upset in the state finals his freshman year. He was hurt his sophomore year. And then last year, it was a big upset. He lost in the semifinals despite having a big lead to Jayton Weigel of Norton. And Carter Career looks focused, and he'll be a big favorite to win it at 138. But Shane Todd will be sitting on the other side of the bracket. He had a great year last year, really started to figure some things out, and he'll be right up there too. I think he'll be the favorite to come out of the other side of the bracket and possibly meet Career in the finals. Dayton Fromholtz is a state qualifier for St. Francis. He is such a funky wrestler. He was down in his third place match to his Oberlin opponent. It was 11-3. And I said, hey, this isn't over yet. He's capable of coming back. And he did come back and ended up winning the match by 5. That's how many points he can score. Oakley's other qualifier is at 132 pounds. That's freshman Brody Beckman. And he's got the ability to win some matches at state too, I think. So St. Francis and Oakley only qualified 2 each, but those 2 for each team really have a chance, I think, to do something good at state.
What fascinates you more when you follow these wrestlers? Is it ones that are unbeaten, like an Ian Giancola of Hoxie or a Kylie Hodges that they're trying to complete the season going undefeated, or are the ones, or is it maybe the storylines of the youngers, like the Hallie Fonensteel up at Norton, the freshman who's trying to be the number 1 ranked wrestler in 160 and trying to win it as a freshman? What storyline fascinates you more?
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna say that is a 2-way tie for first place there. The freshmen, especially on the girls' side, they are just getting better and better. Girls wrestling is becoming so popular across the country. Norton's got a couple of just outstanding freshmen. Hallie Fonensteel at 140 pounds. She's capable of pitting her way through state, but also Kaysen Miller at 115. Kaysen Miller has had all sorts of just regional and national honors outside of high school as far as wrestling goes. She has 2 losses. There's always somebody out there better. She's got 2 losses, and those were to a freshman up in Nebraska. She lost in the finals of the Colby tournament, and also I believe it was a dual tournament up in Nebraska. So both those ladies have a couple of losses, but it would take something monumental, I think, to beat them at state. That's why Norton will be in the running for a state championship. But on the other side of it, too, to make it through the season undefeated, like an Ian Giancola or a Kylie Hodges, is really something. There's only 2 undefeated wrestlers on the girls' side in 3-2-1A. Hodges is one of them. Ashlyn Hahn from Stockton is the second. But just 3 on the boys' side, and Giancola is one of them. It's tough to go undefeated because these teams wrestle tough schedules now. Back in the 90s, not all of these 3-2-1A teams, and even 4A like Goodland and Colby, not all of them went to bigger tournaments. But you see teams like Norton, they go to the Newton tournament. Hoxie goes to Dodge City. They face some bigger schools, and it's tough to come out undefeated. So that's pretty good too for Giancola, who is a 2-time state champion. For example, he takes I think he's over 20-0 now. He takes an undefeated record into state with a good chance to win it. But these guys and the gals are so prepared, I think, because of the schedule that they wrestle.
Mike Holliday continues to be our guest here on the Morning Blitz on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. What about in 4A? What do you see about 4A from like the Colby and Goodland perspective? Both their coaches, Coach Gardner for Goodland, his first year's had a great first year for Goodland. And, of course, Coach Garcia at Colby once again has a great group of guys and girls going to state. So what are your thoughts on the 4A boys and girls tournament coming up here this weekend?
I think a heck of a pat on the back goes out to Jesse Gardner. Goodland did not have a single qualifier on the boys' side last year, and nobody on the girls except for a state champion in Destiny Gonzalez. So she put together an outstanding junior campaign to win state after a state runner-up finish the year before. And she'll be joined at state by Lola Burke at 115 pounds and Danica Dottle at 130. Those wrestlers have good records. Burke is 22-9, Dottle is 31-14, but the senior Destiny Gonzalez 26-4. She'll be one of the favorites to win it. And that'll be, if she can win it again, that'll cap just an outstanding career that she has had. That would mean that she's been in the finals 3 straight years with 2 state championships. On the Colby girls side, they are actually ranked 10th, and they qualify Adrian Salcido at 100 pounds, Aspen Sharp at 105. She's signed to wrestle at Colby Community College next year. Jocelyn Bartlett at 120, Faith Hoover at 125. Then you've got Morgan Hills at 135. She's 25-2, and as a sophomore, one of the favorites to win it. Dallas Steben at 155, and Alana Fabricius at 170. So the girls look to make a little noise and win some matches at state. I think Colby's got a chance. They're ranked 10th on the team side, and 4A is really tough. It's really deep. But Colby's got a chance, I think, to place a little bit higher than 10th. And on the boys' side, again, hats off to the 3 Goodland boys that qualified. Goodland has such a deep wrestling tradition. It's a little lonely there last year without having any boy qualifiers. Traven Conger has put together an outstanding sophomore season. He had a losing record going into the Hayes tournament in mid-January, but he's 26-18. I think that's the tournament that he kind of got things figured out. And as a sophomore, he's going to win some matches at state this year. Omar Hernandez at 157, also qualifying, but Goodland's best wrestler has been Logan Franz at 190. He's 38-3. He's not ranked at 190. That's a loaded weight class at in 4A, but I think he's got a chance at a state medal. And then on the boys' side in Class 4A, there's a couple of Salcidos that qualified in Julian and Simon, a couple of Schraders in Nathan and Eric. You've also got Ryder Dimpy-Wolf, a state champion last year at 113. He made the commitment to keep his weight down and come back to that weight class. He's 37-1. His lone loss to Jen Cola, the first match of the season at 120. So he hasn't lost a 113-pound match. Talon Warwick at 138, Dawson DeGood at 165, Kai Lanning at 175, and heavyweight Cameron Lilly all qualifying for the Colby boys, who are ranked 6th going into 4A state, and a chance really to make some noise. I like this Colby team.
But once again, in 4A, even on the boys' side, it's a very difficult classification to try and finish top 3, right?
It's difficult, I think, to finish in the top 6 in 4A. It's so deep. There's every year at regionals, there's wrestlers that you think could place at state that don't even make it out of their regional. 4A is always tough. Last year, state wrestling for the 4A boys and 321A boys, along with the 4 through 1A girls, there were 3 classifications in Salina. Now, as a Hayes resident, I'm happy that 321A girls and boys are in Hayes, but I really enjoyed watching 4A. There are just so many hammers in that classification. But again, I am so glad that 321A is back in my hometown of Hayes.
And I bet you're excited. I bet the town is excited too, because I know that was a big topic last time we visited. It was about how Hayes lost, the rights to have that at least for a year, or couldn't host it because of other events going on inside Gross Memorial.
And as you know, Ross, when things leave Western Kansas, sometimes they don't come back. And we're thrilled to have state wrestling back in Hayes. I'm thrilled that state basketball has decided to be in Colby again, too. So anything we can get in Western Kansas is great.
Final one for you, Mike. The scheduling this year, having it just over 2 days, and girls and boys pretty much competing at the same exact time. Previous years, it's kind of been, Wednesday, Thursday, girls, Friday, Saturday, boys. Do you like this plan better?
I absolutely like it better. I think the girls deserve to have their championship on a Saturday, along with the boys. I think it's going to run really well. It'll be a little bit more wrestling than we've seen in day 1 of the state tournament. It'll begin at 9 Central Time, both mornings, actually. It has begun at 10 in the last few years. The way that it's going to be set up at Gross Memorial Coliseum over the weekend, there'll be 3 mats dedicated to the girls and 3 for the boys. I'm going to broadcast it on Smoky Hills PBS, so I'm kind of interested to see what that all looks like, if they'll have 6 cameras there and cover everything. I'm not 100% sure about that yet. I think that's probably the plan, but it's just going to be great. I think to have the girls, girls wrestling has been, it's just been getting better and better. And for them to be in with the boys will just make for a thrilling and emotional weekend in Hayes. It's going to be a lot of people in town, and that begins about mid-afternoon in town. You start seeing the Suburbans and the buses come in. It's going to be a busy weekend, but a great one.
Mike, we really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll have to have you on next week to kind of get your thoughts and recap it all.
I'd love to be back on. And I want to, with all the 3-2-1A teams that are coming in, I want to, in 4A, wish Goodland, Colby, and Scott City good luck as well. Always rooting on the Western Kansas teams, man.
Thank you, Mike. Be well, man. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Ross.
Once again, that is great stuff there from Mike Holliday, wrestling expert, as I like to call him. You can watch his stuff. I watch him broadcast, of course, on Smoky Hills Public Television. He'll do a great job. Max is blown away by the knowledge. I can just see
I'm not sure I've ever heard someone know more about something. I'm going to be honest.
He is
knows,
well prepared. That's why
wow.
I love to have him on. He knows.
I sat back. Everyone knows I'm not a wrestling guy. So I just sat back, played the producer role, pulled up what the pictures we needed, and listened to him talk. And now I feel like now I'm hyped up for it. So
yeah, it's going to be good. I'm very fascinated to see how it all works out this year with them being pretty much combined over 2 days. It'll be fascinating to see how that all pans out. All right, we're going to get to a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up the show with some thoughts on sub-state basketball action tonight. You're listening to Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 2025
Blaster, and don't miss their lowest prices of the year on lube or plate grease. Visit S&W Supply in Colby today and save big on these incredible deals.
New year, new projects, and new deals at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Start 2025 with a bang by tackling those home improvements. Refresh your space with vibrant Benjamin Moore paint or stock up on storage totes and shelves, perfect for organizing. Lumber prices are down, making it easier to tackle your next big project. Keep warm while you grill year-round with their top-notch grills and smokers from Traeger and Weber. And don't let the snow slow you down. Check out the great selection of snowblowers from Ego and Toro. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby, your partner for a productive new year.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Sports talk that's fast, fresh, and always on point.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, wrapping up a show here on a Thursday. Once again, if you missed any information talking about state wrestling, you'll want to make sure that you go back and check the podcast with Mike Holliday. He had some fantastic information about all the area wrestlers. He was absolutely wonderful, and I asked Mike if he'll join us next week, and I think he will, to recap state wrestling, get his thoughts on all that. So look forward to that. Postseason basketball gets rolling tonight for some area schools. 2A boys gets going tonight. That will include Hoxie and Oakley, and they play each other. So they will play each other tonight. That will be actually at Colby High School. If someone from Hoxie wouldn't mind texting me why they're not hosting any games, they're all being played at Hoxie because Hoxie is the higher seed in their games, both boys and girls. They're playing their games at Colby High School. I'd like to know why. I'm assuming it has something to do with the building. Like maybe they're getting the floor redone or they had some issue inside the Hoxie gym. I don't know why that is. Somebody says Hoxie's gym is not big enough. Okay, I don't know. Why not? It is kind of funny because, Weskin isn't hosting their games, and apparently that's because their gym isn't big enough, so they're going to Goodland. Why can't they have it in the Cracker Box gyms? I love the bandbox gyms. Those are the fun ones. It's where they're loud and rowdy. That's what's fun about it.
You can get loud and rowdy at the event center.
This is at Colby High School, though. This is the high school gym.
Oh, what?
Yeah, this is at the high school gym, not the event center. Remember, that's because your girls are playing at the event center. Remember?
That's a good point. I will be there at the event center tonight. Well, the thing is, but what's the difference then?
The high school gym at Colby is bigger than the Hoxie gym. The Hoxie gym is not big. Neither is like the Weskin gym. They're not big. I mean, imagine like going probably 6-7 rows up on each side is about all the bigger those gyms are, I think.
Yeah. Well, it can still get, you're getting that high school environment with the band and stuff. I'm sure still at the Colby High School though.
All right, here we go. From the word, the gospel of Marty Lehman. This would be the man who would know the answer. They don't have restraining lines at Hoxie. State will not let you play a semifinal on a floor with a restraining line. Oh, okay. So the gym is so small, they have to have special lines made for inbounding. It's not a big enough gym that way.
Oh.
Have you ever seen a gym like that where they have special lines made for where you can inbound and the restraining lines? Yeah.
I don't think I have.
That's how I read that. So
interesting.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate that. Like I said, I don't know all the case rules, but that man does. So Hoxie will be at Colby High School's gym in the high school building there, and that'll be Hoxie and Oakley in the 6-11 game. Hoxie's 13-7. Oakley is 9-12 in that game there. And then, of course, also tonight you'll have the number 1 seeded Colby Lady Eagles taking on Nickerson. What are your thoughts on this game, real quick?
I mean, I think it's, if Colby is focused and treats it like, just another game or even maybe just a first round playoff game, they've made it this far to so they could play a team like Nickerson, who's 1-19 on the regular season, as you can see on the video stream in this 3A girls bracket. But, I talked to Coach Walker, and you'll hear him on the pregame show on 100.3 The Ride about half an hour before the game begins tonight. This is what they've prepared for all season. They've had goals of mine even before I knew how good this team was. You were telling me that they are a team that wants to win a state championship, and this is just the start. And I'm looking at them to probably just take care of business tonight. If I was the Lady Eagles, I would just be in business mode for round 1. Just take care of business, get some other girls some opportunities in the second half, and move on to the next game. But take care of business.
I feel like we'll see Colby play for a good half, and then we'll see some of the backups get mixed in there for the second half.
I agree.
The more intriguing game from Colby's perspective will be what happens just next to them in the bracket, the 8-9 game between Russell and Larned. We'll see who wins that game in the 8-9 contest. Goodland will be at home tonight taking on Cimarron, and they will play both games consecutively. So the girls will play at 6 Central, 5 Mountain, followed by the boys after that. From the Goodland Cowgirls perspective, look, they're coming off their most complete performance of the season in that win against Holcomb. If they can continue to play like that, they are going to be one very difficult out in the postseason. No matter who they play, they will be very, very difficult. I would just like to see them stack another game like that against a Cimarron team that has proven to be kind of a pest. They've lost a lot of games this year. I mean, they're 8-12. That's still an improvement from last year, but they've lost a lot of games this year by close. I mean, they've taken Colby, Scott City, and Holcomb, and they all lost those games by 10 points or less. So they've been very competitive. So if Goodland goes out there and kind of just plays with their food, Cimarron will be around in this game. But if Goodland goes out and takes care of business on the girls' side, they should be able to get the win. As for the boys' side, this is the game that I want to say it totally fascinates me. But from the Cowboy perspective, it's a get right game. After what happened down at Holcomb, where you had a chance to win the GWAC title, couldn't get it done because Holcomb just shot lights out. How do you respond? Do you come back out here and just take care of business against Cimarron and build that confidence? Because you're going to need a lot of confidence to get through this sub-state bracket. Because if you get past Cimarron, you're more than likely going to have to play Colby for the 5th time this season and try and beat him for the 5th time, which is so hard to ask. And if you do that, just playing bracketologist here, my guess is you're going to have to face Scott City in Scott for a sub-state title if you get past Colby. The road to Hutch is not easy for the Goodland Cowboys, despite being a top 2 seed. It is a challenge. So better be your mind right, and better be ready to go to work. There we go.
Here's my bold, not so bold prediction, but I think that both the Lady Eagles and Cowgirls will play, and the Cowboys and Eagles will play in the tournament.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
I see both teams matching up.
I don't see a problem with that.
I think the boys' side's a little more. I think that's a favorable bet.
Yes, favorable.
And then on the girls' side,
Cowgirls got to get back more than likely Ellsworth, who is a good team. But it's once again one of those deals where I feel like Goodland and the GWAC teams play just a more difficult schedule year in and year out.
Yeah,
and so I feel like as if they're going to be able. But
it would be
go to Ellsworth. You have to win at Ellsworth, though.
It would be Colby versus Goodland for a chance to be a sub-state champion. So,
yep. Lots on the line. So that all gets going tonight. Max will have coverage on 100.3 Live. What time you starting the broadcast again, amigo?
We're going at exactly 5:28.
5:28. Exact
28 exactly.
Set your alarm clocks.
Set your alarm clocks. 100.3 there. You heard from Coach Stanford, Colby Community College, talking about his team going into their last two games of the regular season, and you will hear from Coach Yancey Walker for tonight.
Tune in at around 5:40, 5:35 Mountain Time as we get set for it'd be 4:35, excuse me, for Mountain Time as we get you set for Goodland and Cimarron in the doubleheader tonight at the Max Jones Fieldhouse. By the way, that's why Shiloh and Weskin are playing games at the Max, because they don't have the restriction line, so that's why they're playing in Goodland.
Interesting.
Now, we have all the answers now, thanks to Marty Lehman. Thank you, Marty. We appreciate it. You make our show better. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Real quickly, running through some things from yesterday. Colby Community College softball swept in their Jayhawk Conference opener at Dodge, 10-7, 8-3. They're 7-5 on the season. Tough day for basketball as well for CCC. Lady Trojans lose 48-45 despite leading by 8 going into the fourth quarter, but only scored 6 points in the fourth. They lost. They shot 20% from the field, Max, in the game. 20%.
That's bad.
That's not good. They've lost 6 of their last 7. Trojan men also came up short in a late rally. They were down by 17 points in the second half. Lost by 4, 78-74 to Barton. Colby has lost back-to-back games. Shout out Chase Harris, Fort Hays Tech, Northwest Tech men's basketball. He's now the National Player of the Week. We talked about being the Jayhawk Conference Player of the Week. Now the National Player of the Week after his great week that he had. And also in Jayhawk Conference Wrestling, they announced their all-conference wrestling teams. Fort Hays Tech Northwest had 5 first-team selections, 8 overall, including Atgan Bayer Batsuri was named the Wrestler of the Year. And then Colby Community College had 2 guys named to the team as well. And as we get out of here, a shout-out and an RIP to Norman Dale. Do you know who I'm talking about, Norman Dale?
No.
You ever see the movie Hoosiers?
No.
Oh, my gosh. I knew you had not seen it. You have to do it.
It's a movie.
Go watch Hoosiers. Norman Dale was played by Gene Hackman, one of the great coaches in all of movies. He died this morning in New Mexico, 95 years old. The great Gene Hackman, a great actor, but I loved him in Norman Dale and Hoosiers, one of my favorite movies. What about the Royals on TV tonight? Oh, I know what you're going to be doing.
If I can catch, we'll see what time the game ends. But Royals on TV tonight for the first time, broadcasted by the Royals. So check out Royals Brewers spring training. See the boys play some ball tonight in spring training in Arizona.
Max will be excited. We'll see. Set his DVR for that. All right. For Max, I'm Ross. Safe travels all the wrestlers to state, and we'll talk to you about basketball tonight on your local radio station. See you tomorrow in the Blitz.